Welcome to The Prize Inside, your favorite source for exploring the human potential through the stories of ordinary people achieving the extraordinary. These aren't just people exceeding physical limits. They're doing the impossible, and they aren't done yet. Are you ready to exceed your potential? Then join in now with your hosts, chiropractors Rochelle and Jeremy Myers and massage therapist Bunny.
Welcome, everyone, to The Prize Inside, where we learn about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. The Prize Inside is brought to you by MyPeakDirect.com. MyPeakDirect.com is an online store that holistic doctors have deemed the products exceptional. Ever have a difficult time knowing the best supplement to take? Maybe you've heard a suggestion and are not sure what is a good high-quality brand. MyPeak Direct is an online store that not only sells top-quality holistic supplies from top-rated companies, but everything they suggest, holistic doctors have deemed great. MyPeak does not recommend anything that its doctors have not even tried or have not tried firsthand. So check out www.mypeakdirect.com. Dr. Rachel Myers and Amy Segerman offer 4 components to support you as you begin your journey toward lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. Your coach will be with you every step of the way. Studies show that having a support system can help you get better results. It's why each client gets paired with a coach to guide them on the path to optimal health and well-being. Their coaches are there to empower and encourage you in real time. They know the journey you're about to embark on because they themselves have been on that same journey. So call 269-964-1441 and ask for Dr. Rachel or Amy to get started today. All right. Hey, everybody. Today, we are going to be talking about principle number 6. So stick with us as we go through this. Principle number 6 is where we're at. And this is 6 weeks in a row. I'm pretty proud of myself, actually, of being consistent. We talked about this in a few other podcasts, 1% improvement. My 1% is to get at least 2 of these podcasts out a week. I love doing them. Hopefully, as we get more and more into them, I get a little better. I can't wait to get into the other one. So if you don't know how the structure is working, every week there will be a new principle podcast. So there's 33 chiropractic principles, and after the 33 chiropractic principles, I want to dive into more holistic paradigms, not just chiropractic. So you're going to see this as we go, just to have the understanding of what the mindset is in holistic healing. And as we go forward, you're going to see how it fits into our day-to-day lives. So my 33 chiropractic principles obviously are near and dear to my heart. And so I thought we'd start with those first. And as we go through them, I'm going to kind of go through a little synopsis of the old ones that we had, and then go into the new one. So this is where we start today. I'm going to read the principle number 6. Very short and sweet, but it makes sense. It's kind of one of those masters of the obvious ones, but then you'll start seeing why it fits in so well. So the principle number 6 is called the principle of time. There is no process that does not require time. That's it. That's the whole thing. There is no process that does not require time. There's a reason it was put in, and that's why there's 33 principles, because they all link together, right? So let's go to the first one. So the first one's called the major premise. Principle number 1, the major premise. There is a universal intelligence in all matter and continually gives it all its properties and actions, thus maintaining it in existence. So there's a universal intelligence. That's what we're demonstrating there. The principle number 2 is called the chiropractic meaning of life. The chiropractic meaning of life is the expression of that intelligence, this universal intelligence through matter, is the chiropractic meaning of life. And we'll get into ones where this is what we call the innate intelligence of the human body. So you have a universal intelligence and an innate intelligence. Your innate intelligence is the intelligence within our body coordinating with the universal intelligence. Principle number 3 is called the union of intelligence and matter. Life is necessarily the union of intelligence and matter. So to have life, you must have matter, this intelligence coordinate again with the matter. And so that is what creates the life. There's universal intelligence, let's say in a rock, there's energy in that rock, but it doesn't bring the life force. So it needs some kind of organizational principle, right, to bring this life together. And so life is the union of this intelligence and matter. So principle number 4 is called the triune of life. Life is a triunity having 3 necessary united factors, namely intelligence, force, and matter. So you have the intelligence and matter, which will actually end up creating energy, okay? So those are the 3 pieces that, you need for life. And then principle number 5 that we went over last week was called the perfection of the triune. In order to have 100% life, there must be 100% intelligence, 100% force, and 100% matter. And we went into the awe-inspiring goal. We always say, Jesus probably was the only living soul on this planet with 100% life. But 100% intelligence, force, and matter have to be all in perfection to get you to the path of perfect healing. So our job, and this is why holistic is so fascinating to me, is it's never you're healthy or you're not healthy. There's never such a word. It's a journey that is always happening. It's constantly trying to self-improve. There's no I'm healthy, I'm not. A lot of people go with I'm not sick. Well, that doesn't mean you're healthy, right? And you're not expressing this 100% life that we could have. And so then the principle number 6 comes right into that, the principle of time. There's no process that does not require time. Here's a quote I found that I really liked because it comes into this as we discuss further, but obstacles do not block the path. They are the path. It's a Zen proverb. So why do I say these things? One of the things that we will find as we go, one of the major differences in holistic, and to this day is still getting a little, how would I say this? You're starting to get, we're so good at innovation. We're so good at these things that one of the things we try to control is the amount of time something takes. So this, in holistic mindset, sometimes the obstacles that we face are the actual path. So, and with that is sometimes the time it takes to actually heal. And so a lot of times we have tried to manipulate this to nth degree. I can give you so many different examples. A great example that comes off the bat right now is pregnancy. A lot of times we are almost demanding that we want this baby at a certain time frame. Even though, let's say it's a healthy baby, and we, there's even times where people pick the date of the child's birth based on what they want, right? Because they have that opportunity now. We can have a C-section. We can do things to speed up the birth process. But what if there's, now this is not a dig on how we do like C-sections or, using Pitocin for early early labor. Some of those things are medically necessary. However, if it's not, why are we doing it? Because that's not our job. The role of universal intelligence is to tell us exactly when that is going to occur. And that baby comes on their birthday, not necessarily the one that we would like. So, for a long time, I would see people setting up the time and day and those kind of things when their baby was going to be born. And I would ask, do you have a health condition that's causing? No. That was my biggest frustration. It's like we had these huge amount of C-sections, but people don't realize that's a major surgery. So when you do that, you've hurt the mother, in the sense of you cut her entire core abdominal muscles. In fact, if a mom out there has had a C-section, by the way, there is an awesome exercise to help you. And this goes with natural births or C-section births, but one of the major muscles that gets almost deleted in the C-section world and can really come back later for a natural birth is the lateral oblique. So these things called side planks. So look that up on Google. Side planks can be a huge thing. Planks in general are really good exercise, but side planks are fantastic, especially for pregnant moms, to kind of get that belly kind of back to where they would like that belly to be. The side plank has been one of the big ones. There's lots of different exercises, but to get that lateral oblique back engaged that's a good exercise. So where do I go with this? So that's one example of us taking our signals from nature and basically trying to shorten that duration. Another great example of that is pain medication. Pain medication typically, most of the time, is supposed to be used in short doses because some of this stuff in the innovation world is so powerful that you could potentially, you can wipe out a ton of different types of pain. And when you do that, you need to make sure you're healing in that same time frame. What occurs in our society now, and is exactly one of our major problems with, the chronicity of headaches, back pain, those type of things. We decide to mask those things. And I've talked about this before, but it's kind of like putting your oil light on your car comes on, and then you take some black tape and put it over it and keep going. It's fine at the time until the engine starts smoking. And then when the engine starts smoking, we get overwhelmed and try to figure out why this is happening. When in reality, our nature told us a long time ago that it was going to start smoking. That gives you the signals, but we just have gotten so good at hiding those signals from who we are just to do our day-to-day thing that it's really become a major, massive issue in our society, leading to surgeries that may have been preventable in years before that. I can give you another example. I had a friend. So my friend has been using chiropractic every few weeks for the 20 years I've been around. He goes into work, and the boss that he has is kind of one of these guys he's very afraid of chiropractic. Maybe he saw a YouTube video, whatever. So that happens. We're used to that, as you go forward. So he has really done nothing, and he had this, what we know as sciatica. So we'll call it a right leg sciatica that's just terrible. So this is the boss I'm talking about. So this boss goes in, and he gets some massive amounts of pain drugs. So he gets this is his first initial thing, so the pain goes away. And then months later, the pain drugs stop working. And so then he decides, okay, well, I'll go in and try some physical therapy. Now, there's the biggest problem with this isn't the therapy. It's not going to be anything like that. The problem is you just took 3 months and you put black tape over the oil light. And then you're going to try to physically turn it around in 2 to 3 weeks. Now, because these pain meds, yes, they can mask that stuff for a while, but eventually your body can overtake that. That's the power of the innate intelligence, especially the worse and worse the condition gets. So then whoever, let's say the therapist is, let's say it's a PT, a chiropractic, they're already 3 months behind the 8 ball in trying to heal something that was damaged months and months prior. So a lot of times what happens is then they get through a few sessions of therapy. The pain is just too great. And now they go in for this MRI. They get the MRI going and then ultimately a surgery. So this guy, this boss of my friend, is off 6 to 8 months where he's making 60% of what he did before because he's on this disability. So my friend goes in and he hurts himself at work. So he's lifting something and he hurts himself. So his exact same pain his boss had, the right leg, and his boss starts to panic because my friend is a really good worker for my boss, his boss. So he's like, "What do you got to do? Whatever we have to do, we will do it." And he kind of jokingly looks at his boss and says, "I'm going to go see my chiropractor and we'll go from there." So we bring him in about 2 days off of work, resting, and he'd been through it before. We've had a little bit before, doing the normal icing, really taking it easy for those 2 days. And he was back to work in 4 days. And his boss was just astounded. He goes, "You had the exact same thing I did, but you recovered. Why? And that's when my friend was trying to say, well, I didn't take, I as we go, it's hard to explain when a person that's a holistic patient, I almost feel worse for them sometimes than I do the holistic practitioner. I study this stuff all the time. When I have a friend that utilizes chiropractic or acupuncture, massage or PT or all these different awesome holistic things, when somebody questions them, it's really hard because they just innately know that that's the way to go. And so I almost feel worse for them because they have to try to explain that to family and friends why they so are into the chiropractic or whatever. But it goes to show you, but if you looked at that too, time can work in our favor as well. Because time is a journey. And if we recognize, and this is what we've learned over my experience, now if you shorten the time the injury is there, we'll use, and we've talked about this before, but you have thoughts, toxins, trauma. Those are all things that can cause a manifestation of what we call a chiropractic subluxation, where it's basically the circuit breaker board in your basement has gone off. And we'll use you injure yourself at home or at work, those kind of things, and you've popped the circuit of your fifth lumbar vertebrae, right? So the quicker you utilize, get in, get treated, understand how it works, the faster your recovery too. So it works in kind of both ways. A lot of times we've taken away time because these drugs are so fantastic. Well, they don't treat the true cause of what's happening. Most of these pain medications have brain cycle stuff that helps try to knock out the brain reflex of the pain. What does that do any good? I understand an anti-inflammatory maybe, even like a muscle relaxer possibly. But to take away the brain reflex, tells you, I'm going to cut off your innate intelligence telling you there's a problem, and then see how it goes, right? Because for the most part, people think, oh, it'll just heal up on its own. And it could. It very well could. That's innate intelligence at its best. The problem is, why not get it checked? Why not take your time get it evaluated at that point and go from there. So that's where this time one is so interesting, because if we want to truly start living innately, trying to keep our 100% life, we need what? 100% intelligence, 100% force, and 100% matter. The only way to do that is to take the journey and evaluate and make sure we're constantly working on the best our body can be. And that's what we need to do to change that paradigm. There's so many different things, like as we go on early, an early surgery, so many times we'll have a person go in, they've hurt I'll give you my own example. So, and this is before chiropractic. So I was playing college football and I had a kneecap that dislocated on me, and it was pretty severe enough where they warranted surgery after the season. So I went through, had this crazy brace I had to put on every time. I could still function with that knee. It was just this kneecap would dislocate away. Well, later, if I would have understood that, so what they had to do in that surgery was actually cut part of your muscle away, because they thought that was what was making this kneecap track in a different location. When in fact, if you watched me run, there was a reason that they called me Duck, like a lot of times, because I would flare my feet really wide when I would run or push in the football, in blocking or tackling somebody. And so that actually created a mechanical disadvantage that pulled my patellar out. Now, am I I'm disappointed in the surgery? No, because I found out more and more as we go how to run correctly and walk correctly and those kind of things. So I'm not as duck-footed as I used to be. But that, if I would have known the mechanics back then, I may not have had to have the surgery. But at the time, I wanted to get back to playing. So time didn't work in my favor, and I was more of a panicked kid, loved the sport so much that I didn't want to miss. And then, so I went in for that surgery, even though the understanding of time could have been in my favor there. All right, so what does this all come to, and what are we going to do for our, what I like to call my 1% improvement this week? I love it. This one's very simple because it's so profound, but yet so simple that no one ever does it because they don't believe me. But 1% improvement, like we're going to talk about this for the entire podcast. Each day, if you created a daily routine of just stretching, and we have a YouTube channel called My Peak, MYEPEAK. If you look that up on YouTube, you'll see many, many different daily routine stretches that you could add to your routines. Kind of just scroll through a lot of the different videos we have there. But it's one of those things is just learning to do one new stretch a day. Okay, so I don't start a day without my daily routine. It takes me roughly 7 minutes or so to do this. But we have I have a daily routine that I go through, stretches for each joint of the body. And it's literally no time at all. But I can tell you how you feel afterwards, and the energy that you get into will change your world. Like get into Tai Chi, get into something stretch related, that when you get up in the morning, you do these routines. And I can tell you, I've seen it many, many times. Chronic shoulder injury comes in, and if I can get them to do a little bit every day, not a lot. The problem is we overdo it on some aspects. So I want you to do a little bit every day. And then I've seen miraculous things after 3 to 4 months of a person doing their own daily routine. Learn from a physical therapist, learn from these people on what I should do every day. The people that have done exceptionally well with chiropractic, with pains in general, are ones that pick up, possibly, let's say they went to physical therapy in the beginning. They found chiropractic, so they had done all the exercises. So we adjust them, and then they feel a lot better. However, now they also remember all the stretches they were doing. So then we say, keep adding those every single day. And these pains get reversed. It's amazing. Like, time will allow you also to change your body. And we'll go through this in other things, but you can change your genes. You can change your genetics, like how this goes. You don't have to live, with arthritis. You don't have to do all these things that they tell you over and over that that's the case. The problem is we don't give ourselves enough time. We don't do those things. And once we start to understand that, our world's going to change so much. So because this is a pretty easy one to remember, though, I'm going to recap. So principle number 6 is called the principle of time. There is no process that does not require time. Have a great day, everybody.
Don't think for a second that this episode has reached its full potential, because we have plenty more for you on Myers-Chiropractic.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe to the show on your preferred podcast listening service so you don't miss a minute of real stories, real people, and real results. We look forward to exploring the human potential with you next time, right here on The Prize Inside.